A few weeks ago, I created a quilt pattern called This Way. Link for that pattern will be down below in the description. But if you love that one, you will love this pattern because you will be constructing it the same way, but your final block will look totally different. This is the case of me trying to figure out what quilt to make, but end up loving both ideas. So here we are. Now you are going to be using one of my favorite pre-cuts, which is a layer cake, and a layer cake is a 10-inch square. Just a layer cake, no background fabric. You're going to start by taking two different prints, lay them on top of each other, right sides together, and you're going to sew with a 1/4-inch seam allowance all the way around the square. Now, once you do so, you're going to take a long quilt ruler and from corner to corner at a 45-degree angle, with your rotary cutter, make a cut. Then, if you have a fancy rotating mat, just turn your mat and cut the opposite side the same way by taking your ruler and from corner to corner at a 45-degree angle, make a cut with your rotary cutter. Now you will yield 4 half square triangles, so go ahead and iron your half square triangles open and flat. Now once ironed, if your layer cakes are wonky, and that's okay if they are, you might need to trim your blocks down to a 6.5-inch square. This pattern does have a lot of bias on these half square triangles, so don't feel bad if your block is a little distorted. Here I am just trimming them up, and as you can see, there will be very little waste. And if you are still struggling with the bias, try using a starch. I like to use Best Press because it isn't a heavy starch. It won't turn your blocks into like a professionally pressed military uniform, but it will help stiffen it up a bit. But if you are lucky and your half square triangles are in good shape, you can go ahead and continue by making your block. And to do that, we will be laying our half square triangles out like so, rotating a few around to form this layout. Or you can rotate these bottom blocks like so and create a easy square in a square quilt block. But today we are going to make the inverse, hence the name of this quilt pattern, which of course will be linked down below in the description for the free PDF pattern. And as usual, you are just going to sew your blocks together to form rows. Then lastly, sew your rows together to complete the quilt block. And here is my final quilt block. Now I'm going to do this to all of my layer cake 10-inch squares and repeat the same exact steps for however many quilt blocks I will need for the size that I am making. Now this quilt pattern is available in 5 quilt sizes: baby, throw, twin, queen, and king. But once all of your blocks are made, it is time to lay out your quilt. Today I will be showing you 2 layouts. Here is the first layout, which is the same block placed in the same direction. Or you can go ahead and take every other block and rotate it 90 degrees like so and kind of create this secondary quilt layout. Now, I personally love the secondary quilt layout, so I am going to sew my blocks together to form rows, and then lastly sew my rows all together to complete my quilt top. And here is mine all put together. Now, since its sister quilt has an edge-to-edge quilt pattern quilt on it, I wanted to go ahead and design a new edge-to-edge quilt pattern that I am calling Doggy Bone, which I thought would be perfect for this Halloween quilt as well. Link for that will be also down below in the description. And here is the backing I will be using, which is a plain black and white houndstooth, which I love so much. Plus, I am very happy that I had enough of this yardage left over from the sister quilts, so that way they can both pretty much match. Now let's go ahead and pick a thread choice. I like to use glide thread for long arm quilting. Not sponsored, but of course any shade of gray from light gray, medium, dark gray, and even black would of course work for this quilt. But I feel that's a little bit too safe, and I do want to add more orange. So I pulled out a few oranges, and here I am showing marmalade and lava, which are pretty close to matching the prints within this quilt that I made. But today I'm going to use lava. And here it is, all quilted and binded. I will have a link down below in the description for the digital long arm quilt pattern if you like, and I do hope you have enjoyed this new pattern. If you could, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified for your next amazing project.